Hey guys, this is AI Gaming 1776 and I'm trying to sort of do a best settings video for the GTX 1070 for playing Skyrim Special Edition at 4K 60 FPS, but there are some problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that in this video. Now, we are at the Ultra preset, we're at 4K, and as you can see, that 51 right there, that's the frame rate we're getting. We're not getting 60. Now, inside of a cave, yes, 60 FPS. Inside of a castle, 60 FPS. As a matter of fact, if I go into this building here, we just might get 60 FPS. If we look at the skybox, 60 FPS. All right? There will be some times that it can actually do 4K 60 FPS at Ultra, but by and large, no. It's not going to be a 4K Ultra 60 FPS experience. Okay, so what can we do? All right, so it just went to 60. I was wondering when it would. So we finally got a part where we can sit here at 59.9 FPS. We're using a 4K TV, 60 hertz. So yeah, it took doing this just to get it to 60. We'll go back downstairs. 52 before we even get downstairs. Now usually inside of a building like this, you could see 60 FPS. I say usually, often. I have often seen 60 FPS inside interiors. Alright, so what can you do? Well, the game is tricky, alright, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you right now. So, we exit out of the game, we sit here for a second, just give it a couple seconds to really and truly shut down. Alright, click back on it, go to options, by the way, 3840 by 2160. If we go over to advanced, you can see everything was in fact on Ultra. Alright, no shenanigans. Everything was on Ultra. Alright, so there's that. So what can we do? Well, believe it or not, if you want a better frame rate, just turning off screen space reflections, which is right here. I'll show you how to get to that in case you didn't notice. Alright, so you go to options, and then you go to advanced, and you can have everything else be the Ultra preset. Here, we'll tell it the Ultra preset. You go to advanced. Screen space reflections is one of these check boxes over here. If you uncheck screen space reflections, then the game will be mostly 4K 60 FPS. And all you had to do is give up one setting. And when I say mostly 60 FPS, I mean mostly. You'll see here. Sorry, I'm going to be drinking water while I talk to you guys. I normally do a cough drop. Today it's going to be water. If you guys have seen my videos before, you will be familiar with the cough drop. Alright, so go back to this save file. Load that up. So, we're going to get in here. We're going to be mainly 60 FPS. There will be times where it goes down to as low as 50. But where we were at before we unchecked that box, it was almost never at 60. As you can see, we've been locked at 59.9 this whole time. We've been locked at that. Not even fluctuating yet. Now, the thing is, there will be times that it goes down to 50, 51 frames per second. By the way, the game forces VSync, and you can disable VSync, which I did, and the frame rate still sucked. So, in case you think that disabling VSync will fix this, no, it will not. You can do it if you want to. You have to go into the INI files. It's very, very easy to do, even if you've never done it before. It's very easy to go in. You have to go into the INI files. You have to change a number from 1 to 0, and VSync goes off. Oh, we just went down to 56 frames per second. But no, disabling the VSync does not fix this. I tried the adaptive sync in the NVIDIA control panel once I had disabled VSync. That didn't fix it. So, Ultra, you pretty much have to uncheck the box that I showed you guys for the screen space. I forget the rest. Screen space reflections, maybe. Whatever one I showed you a few minutes ago, and we'll look at it again. Anyway, the thing is it gets rid of a lot of the punch of the remaster. Now, you're not going to be able to tell this because I'm using a video camera. So what I'm going to do, and it's going to take me a while, and you guys are going to have to be patient, is I will do some shadow play recordings of this, and I say it'll take a while because what happens whenever I do 4K shadow play gameplay footage, YouTube takes its sweet, sweet time making it actually be 4K for you guys to watch. All right, here, let me load up a different save file in case you think it's just the dragon is flying around and there's all those particle effects. I'll show you just going for a little walk through the woods. Can also lower the frame rate. Anyway, that setting I showed you is the most important one, that box that we unchecked. Just unchecking that will make it so the game actually looks fairly decent and it plays really well. And I guess for a lot of people, this is going to be the go-to thing. It's kind of like in The Witcher 3, people say, oh, just turn off Hairworks. I think turning off the screen space reflections might be the new Hairworks, you know what I mean? I'm looking through the viewfinder of the camera right now, and it looks like this looks pretty decent. So you guys, even though you're watching video camera footage, went down to 52 frames per second right now. Just going for a walk. Just walking through some trees. So here's the thing. If this one setting makes such a big difference, do I endorse it or do I not? And if I don't, why don't I? Well, I kind of do and I kind of don't, alright? This is the simplest fix that I've figured out so far, and I've put a good 6 or 7 hours into this. I'm not kidding you, trying to figure out how to make a 1070 play this. I have a GTX 1080. In case you guys don't watch my channel on a regular basis, I've got about 15 different graphics cards. I've got 4 different CPUs. And I do a lot of different testing. Actually, I think I have 5 different CPUs, but there's like 4 that I actually use on a regular basis. So anyway, yeah, it's stuttering a little bit. It went down to 50 frames per second. So with the GTX 1080, you can just put on Ultra and you can play. Now the thing is, when you fight that dragon, it will go below 60 FPS. All right. So even with the GTX 1080, you will find yourself in a situation where it's not going to always be 4K 60 FPS. This thief has a lot of health. I'm actually pretty surprised. So do I endorse it or not? Well, in a way I do, because it's a very simple, 47 frames per second, not good. Alright, in a way I do, because it's a very simple way to mostly get you the 4K 60 FPS experience. The problem is, in this remaster, you lose a lot of the punch. See, I'm looking through the viewfinder at this TV right now, and that looks pretty good. And I don't blame you if you think like, dude, yeah, this looks pretty good. Like, all I'm going to do is uncheck that box. The problem is, the punch is gone. Like yes, the God rays are still there. Yes, a lot of the other things are still there, but the punch is gone, right? The screen space reflections, let me make sure that's what they're actually called. And, oh, there we go. They help there be a lot of punch. Now, I've gone through, when I say I took 6 or 7 hours to do this just now, I have gone through and I've checked and I've checked and I've checked every setting, and there's nothing that has an impact like screen space reflections. Yeah, that's the right name for it. Nothing else has this impact. So whether it is shadow quality, whether it's the decal, whether you go in here, you're not going to have that effect. Alright, so what do I recommend? Well, a few things here. I'm about to show you a compromise. I'm about to change a whole bunch of settings and do what I would normally do. If you guys have seen my videos before, I normally find the best settings to make a game look good and play well. The thing here, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, with a 1070 playing this game, you're not going to get perfect 4K 60 FPS unless you almost have all the settings off for whatever reason. All right, it's real hard to do for this graphics card, and I've got a pretty decent overclock on here. It's not a great one. It stays in the 2000s. You may have noticed in the upper right hand corner while the video is playing. So here, let me change a bunch of stuff. Go to high, go to high, go to medium, go to low. Actually, you can turn God rays completely off, but they actually help with the presentation. So we're going to turn the screen space reflections back on. Turning off 64-bit render targets, that seems to affect the image quality. Screen space reflections greatly, like so much of what this game gets is the punch that the lighting engine gets, the lighting system, whatever you want to call it, they get it from that screen space reflections. All right. So turning that off gives you a lot more performance back, but you lose a lot of visual fidelity. All right. So now we're going to turn anti-aliasing completely off. We're going to turn all of the fading down. I don't even know how helpful this is, to be honest, because I had it turned down even further before and I couldn't get 60 FPS. So I'm actually going to have it here. Because when I had it turned down further, the grass was popping in. Wasn't that great. All right. And then I guess we could change object detail fade, but we're not going to. All right. So we've just turned the AA off. Shadow to high, shadow distance high. You saw we just turned everything off except all these little check marks, because these check marks seem to help make the game look good. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to play the game again. While it's loading up, I'll tell you again why I'm having so much trouble with recommendations. If I'm honest, if I had a 1070 and I was going to play this game at 4K, I would probably play the Ultra preset and deal with the frame rate. It'll never be a solid 4K Ultra 60 FPS. Guys, again, I know I keep repeating myself, but if you have followed this channel, you'll know that I am Mr. 60 FPS. Like, 60 FPS is the minimum I will settle for in a game. The thing is this game doesn't look that great once you start monkeying with the settings. You almost need every single thing maxed out for it to look great. Now, this looks good, right? Like, I don't know what this looks like. This is the combination of settings that I did for you guys just now before we launched the game. This actually looks good. This does not look bad. It is a good compromise. And if no one had ever seen the game on Ultra, I think most people would think this looks good. So if you go with these settings here that I'm showing you, I showed you before I started the game, then you punch all those in, you start the game up, you still will not get a perfect 60 FPS. We just went down to 57 and things haven't even gotten real yet. Like, I've still seen it go down into the 40s every now and then with these settings turned down. And going into this building, getting the dragon to come and everything, and fighting the dragon and spinning the camera around quickly, I have seen that make the frame rate go down. Now, we've only gone down to 57 or 58 so far, all right, in this playthrough. So it's okay. It looks good. It doesn't look great, but it looks good. This is what I would call the good enough settings, and I feel bad because normally I am very successful at picking best settings. I am normally really good at making a game look beautiful and still play very well. But let's be honest, this is 4K. All right? And it may be hard for you guys to believe, but you can have a game play perfectly 1440p, 2560 by 1440. I've been waiting for that dragon to come out. You can have a game play perfectly at 1440p, 60 FPS, and then it just plays... Oh, there we go. We went down to 49 frames per second just now. The dragon must be on its way. Where's it? There it is. Here comes the dragon right there. All right? We just went down to 49 when I was saying that. So like I said, this, even with these settings down, it's almost 60 FPS like a lot of the time. There we go, 54 frames per second. Yeah, it's not going to be a lock 60. So anyway, you can have a game play awesomely at 1440p, maxed out or close to maxed out, or some kind of combination of settings that look almost as good as maxed out, and you can get 60 FPS. Wow, we just went down to 50 frames per second. So you can have that, but then you go up to 4K and it can play like hot garbage. Now, does this game play like hot garbage? No, but when you use the Ultra preset, what happens is you can feel it stuttering. Now, there seems to be some kind of smoothing on it. It is the best stuttering that I've ever felt, if that makes sense. And I say that because normally I despise stuttering, right? Like, it's a deal breaker. Being below 60 FPS is a deal breaker. Stuttering is a deal breaker. Well, if you play this game at Ultra in 4K, and in case you guys don't know, oh man, this is the wrong save file. I didn't want to load this one again. Sorry. I wanted to do a different one. Alright, so normally going below 60 FPS, that is a deal breaker. Stuttering is a deal breaker. In this game, oh, I know what I was saying. The 1070 is not exactly a 4K card. You know, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's just not. It can sort of kind of do 4K for some games. It can actually do 4K sort of well for some games. And then there's some games where like it's just not going to do 4K very well at all, and it's going to be kind of a bad experience. All right, because I know people like to debate, right? Like if I say the 1070 is not a 4K card, somebody's going to be like, well, here's 20 games I can play in 4K. And it's like, yes, there are some games you can play in 4K. That's true. But I personally would not call the 1070 a 4K card. And even the 1080 I wouldn't call a 4K card. It's not great for it. All right. So anyway, with all that said, there's no good answer here. You can play at the Ultra preset, which is probably what I would do because it looks really good, and you're going to get stuttering. It's very smoothed out. It's not bad stuttering as far as stuttering goes. It's tolerable, but you'll notice it. It's like, I don't know, imagine you're at some big busy place in the public and there's loud kids, but they're far enough away from you that they're not loud enough to bother you. They're just loud enough that you notice they're there. All right, that's the kind of stuttering that I'm getting with an i7 4790. It's not overclocked. You can't overclock the chip. I'm getting like stuttering that I know it's there. It's smoothed out, but it doesn't bother me too much. So I would probably do the Ultra preset, because turning anything, look, we just turned a whole bunch of stuff down, and it's still not giving 4K 60, and it still doesn't look as great as it could. Again, I'm looking through the viewfinder of the camera now, and this probably looks okay to you guys. And that's the thing. If you've never seen this at Ultra, and you play it with these settings, you'll probably be okay. And if you're realistic, if you're the kind of person, you've got a GTX 1070, or maybe you have a 980 Ti, and you're just being realistic, you know that card isn't really going to promise you 4K 60 FPS in all the games, but this is kind of close enough, you might be satisfied. I don't know. There's no winning answer for this. Again, we can go back to just turn off screen space reflections. Most of the time, you're going to be seeing 60 FPS. Yes, it can still go down to 58 frames per second, maybe even 48, 49 frames per second when you just turn off screen space reflections. Yeah, that's true. You could still see a lower frame rate from... Oh, wait a minute. Where are we going? Here. You can still see a lower frame rate from time to time, but most of the time it's going to be 60. The thing is the sky loses so much of its punch. In this video, will you be able to tell that? I honestly don't know. I'm using a camera. I'm pointing it at a TV. So what I'll do is I've already recorded footage of the game playing in 4K Ultra, all the settings on. All right, and it's 4K recording. I did it in Shadow Play. I did it at 100 bit rate, 100 MPS, or whatever the nomenclature is. So it's at 100, which you got to remember, I'm still trying to also play the game. So 100 is kind of enough for visual fidelity. It looks good. Trust me. You're going to watch it and you're going to see it looks good. So I've got that. I'm going to upload it. When you're going to watch this first, probably, and it may take a day or 2 or 3 days, 4 days even, for that video that I just told you about to be in 4K. And that's not on me. That's on YouTube. I record 1080p 60 FPS, and you can watch it in 1080p 60 FPS within 2 to 4 hours. But with 4K, no, YouTube they take days on that, and that's not on me. I didn't choose that. All right? So anyway, that's where we're at. I just wanted to have this talk with you. This video will probably only be important to about 12 people on all of planet Earth, if we're honest. 4K is not even that popular. I have no idea how many people are going to be interested in this information. But, you know, I just spent 6 or 7 hours working on it. Look, see, that looks pretty good, right? That looks pretty decent. Trust me, Ultra looks better. Ultra looks sharper. We have AA completely off right now, by the way. No AA whatsoever. No anti-aliasing. God rays on low. View distance turned down on things like to the point where I can just barely see flowers fading in. If I don't look, I won't notice them fading in. I mean, this is a true compromise. All right, the 1070 was not built for 4K 60 FPS, but this is not bad. This is totally doable. All right. So there you go. You got these three options. That's the point. You have three options, and this frame rate is still going down to like 45, 50. We're at 40. Where's it at? Right, it's right here. You probably can't see it that well. There we go. Probably you can see it better now. 45, 46 frames per second right now. 44.9 frames per second. The thing is, with these settings turned down, there's not much stuttering. So it's a pretty smooth 45 frames per second. I know, right? Like that I would even have to say that because all right, some people think 45 frames per second sounds bad, and some people probably think it sounds okay. For me, it's normally pretty bad. Normally, when a game is at 45 FPS, it does not feel very good. This feels okay. There's barely any stuttering, if there is at all. There's like hints of it, like a little bit, smidgens of stuttering. But for the most, and that's only when it goes into the 40s. But most of the time, it's in the 50s. It's around 60 with these settings. It's fine. So there you go. I know I've repeated myself a lot. I know my videos are long, and people are like, why are your videos long? And why do you use a camcorder? And why do you do this and that? Guys, I'm trying to give you the information. All right? Maybe you're thinking about buying a 4K TV. Maybe you're thinking about buying a GTX 1070. Maybe you're thinking about buying this game. Okay? I am trying to give you all the information so that if you are in a situation where you want to put those puzzle pieces together, all this various hardware, if you will, and you want to have an idea of what to expect, I'm trying to help you out. And I can't do that in a short little 2-minute video. You know what I'm saying? And all the guys who do just average frames per second or whatever, they're not giving you this info. So the videos are long for a reason. Anyway, I'm going to upload this. I'm going to upload the already recorded 4K footage. Then I'm going to upload a recording, 4K shadow play recording of these settings, and I'll do another video with just screen space reflections off so you can see a better idea of what it looks like when I'm not using a camcorder. The thing is, like I said, it's gonna take a long time to upload those videos and have YouTube process them, and I will be at YouTube's mercy when that happens. All right. And I guess part of the reason I'm saying that is so many people will get mad if you don't have the 4K right now. And I don't think they understand that 4K takes time. So that's where we're at. All right. So this has been AI Gaming 1776. Hopefully you guys feel like you got something out of the video. Hopefully you feel like it was informative. And as a matter of fact, if you end up playing this game and this video helped you enjoy the game better, I would love to hear about it. Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, tell your friends. I test on a lot of hardware, guys. I do everything from 720p all the way up to 4K. And I do the conventional 60 frames per second, but I also do 144 hertz. I do FreeSync. I've done G-Sync in the past. I'll be doing it again. I don't currently have a G-Sync monitor, but I will again. So anyway, I do a lot. i5, i7, AMD, as far as CPUs go. And then I also do AMD GPUs and NVIDIA GPUs. I don't know how I could forget NVIDIA. I wanted to say GeForce, and I was like, that's not right. I mean, it's kind of right, but you know what I mean. Alright, dudes and dudettes. Hopefully this video has been useful for you. And once again, it's been AI Gaming 1776, and have yourselves an excellent day. Peace out.